Hey guys, Chris here. Today I just want to tackle one of the most common questions I get in my everyday life as well as through the Vegan Zombie, and that is how and why I went vegan. Usually I respond with a shortened version and I just tell people, hey, I was vegetarian for a few years and I later became vegan. But I'm going to let you guys know the real reasons of how that came to be. So I was about 14 years old and I was really into martial arts. I had done karate and I was really into the whole culture of ninjas, and I was just a normal kid. And I had a friend who lived across the street, and his family friend, who was a little bit older than us, about 5-6 years older than me, he actually studied ninjutsu. And he was coming into town that day, and I was invited to come hang out and talk to him about ninjutsu, which I did. And at that point in my life, it was like one of the best days of my life. Here I am talking to this guy he said he was going to end up training me and a couple friends ninjutsu. So he was going to come into town, a few times a month, and we would find a field and we would start training the art of ninjutsu, and it was really fun. It was something that I was really passionate about. He started teaching us like everything about the ancient culture. Like he was showing us different Japanese sayings, and we were learning a little bit of Japanese. Then he started teaching us about the whole culture of the ancient ninjas, and that they were predominantly vegetarian. They would eat a vegetarian, almost vegan diet. Some of them would eat fish, but they would thrive on a vegetarian diet. So I wanted to be a vegetarian at that point, because if they're doing it, I wanted to do it. And he introduced us that day to tofu and tabbouleh. He brought it over, and before we got started with our training, he let us try this. And I remember it was just regular firm tofu in the water, not seasoned, not cooked or anything. And I remember eating it, and it wasn't bad, it wasn't good. It was just how bland tofu tasted. But to this day, when I eat tofu like that, it takes me right back to that moment, and it's almost like a nostalgic feeling. I didn't really care for the tabbouleh too much. I didn't really like the mint in it, but these are things that I tried and I liked and I connected with. And to me, at that time in my life, I had a couple other friends, and we all went vegetarian that day, not knowing really why, but it was a challenge. It was a new challenge for us. It was something unique to us, and it bonded us together, and it was fun. That day I went vegetarian and I never ate meat again, and within a couple of weeks I already felt like I had more energy. From that day on, I had to go find what kind of foods I could eat. My parents at the time, they didn't support this. So kids out there that say your parents don't support this, it is doable. I mean, I made it happen. I decided to start cooking my own food, and that's what I did. From age 14, I started cooking my own meals, and I'd be hungry and I'd say, hey Mom, Dad, I'm hungry, and they'd say, well, if you ate what we ate, you wouldn't be hungry. But I never gave in, and I never ate meat again. And growing up, I was always an athletic kid, played sports and martial arts and rode my bike, skateboarded, but I would get really lethargic pretty easy. But after I became vegetarian, I noticed an energy boost. So I was vegetarian for a few years at this point, and I had always been an animal lover. I just never made the connection. But I mean, I remember riding my bike home one day and seeing some kind of like woodchuck or something, and it was ran over by a car, and I felt really bad, and it was still alive. So I picked him up and I put him on my handlebars, and I rode home, and I told my parents, and we brought him down to the vet. And I felt good about that. I don't know what happened to him after that, but at least I was there to help, and I had feelings for this animal. And that's how I was growing up. So as the years went by, I started learning more about being vegetarian, and at the time I didn't know any other vegetarians. I've never even heard of the word vegan at the time. So as time went by, I started to learn about veganism, and I didn't want to be part of that. I didn't want to be part of the dairy industry and the harm that it created, because up until that point, I kind of thought that as long as I wasn't killing an animal, it was okay. So I continued to eat milk and dairy, but in no way did I ever consume anything that had meat in it or something that was killing an animal. So I remember pizza cheese. I worked at different pizza places. I mean, pizza cheese that had rennet in it, and that was like the lining of a goat or a cow stomach. So I knew if it had rennet in it, I wasn't going to consume it because that was killing the animal. As time went by, I started learning more and more about what this was, and and I started to disconnect from everything that I learned as a child. So no more did meat or dairy, it wasn't food to me anymore. It was the body parts of another animal. It was the secretions of another animal, and to me that was cruel, and it was gross. So even if it wasn't cruel to animals, I didn't want to put that in my body. It was disgusting. And it didn't take much for me to make that connection and go vegan. So a few years after I became vegetarian, I went vegan, and I've been vegan ever since. 20 years ago this month, and I plan on posting this video on my vegan anniversary, so September 23rd, 20 years. Vegetarian almost 25 years now, and vegan 20 years. So all of my adult life and all of my teenage years were meat-free and then vegan. So it's something that I had no idea at the time how much of an impact that would make on my life, but I think looking back now, it was probably the single best decisions I've ever made, and I'm so grateful for that. I didn't know at the time what it was going to do for me, but I'm so glad that I found it, or it found me, and I feel that veganism has helped me out in so many ways. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I feel great physically and mentally, knowing that I'm not part of the torture of animals and enslaving the animals for my benefit, for my, I guess, my wants, my taste. All the other sustainability issues in the environment, I don't miss it. I don't miss meat or dairy in any way. The food I make is delicious. I'm not going to eat something if it doesn't taste good, and there's an infinite amount of great tasting vegan food that you can make, and I feel, you know, extremely youthful for my age, and I think that's all due to being, you know, vegan and living the vegan lifestyle. To me, it's not hard. Some people say, how do you do it? I don't think twice about it. It's part of my everyday life. I've done it for so long. Like I said, it makes me feel really good. I'm 38 years old. Nobody's ever guessed my age. Everybody thinks I'm a lot younger than I am, and although I can't prove it, I think it's because of my lifestyle. I can't go back in time and eat a different diet and lead a different lifestyle all the way to where I am right now to prove that, hey, this was the reason why I feel so healthy and youthful at my age, where, you know, I'm the oldest of 4 siblings, and a lot of people peg me for the youngest when I'm actually the oldest. I'm also drug-free, straight edge. I don't consume alcohol, I don't consume drugs. I've never done drugs or alcohol. I've never tasted alcohol. I've never even tasted coffee. You know, I'm leading that lifestyle, you know, part of who I am, and I think that it's all up in your mind. It's all mind over matter. Some people say, how can you do that? Well, I never wanted to do that. I remember being in health class when I was in 6th or 7th grade, and they're showing me a healthy liver, and then a liver with cirrhosis from alcoholism, and then healthy lungs, and then lung cancer lungs. And you know, I know it's excessive, and I know you have to drink a lot, but why would I want to consume something that could eventually end up like that? So basically, you know, I made my decision early on that I never wanted to consume bad things in life, and I never wanted to lose my state of mind, be drunk or intoxicated. And you know, sure, I was picked on in high school, and I remember, you know, I had certain friends that their entire summer goal was to get me drunk. And the one thing about me that I never gave into peer pressure. So if you're a young kid out there and you're worried about that, just be who you are. Don't give into peer pressure. Do what you want to do. Don't compromise yourself because other people they want you to, or they're making fun of you. They're not worth it. I just thought I would make this video and explain to you guys the impact that veganism has had on my life. I'm actually at my parents' house. This is the backyard. Back here I used to have a tree fort. It's gone now, but this is where I grew up. This was my childhood, and I felt like it was appropriate to come back here and film the video. Well, I think I covered everything I wanted to in this video, so if you guys have any other questions, go ahead and post them in the comments below, and go ahead and share your story with me. I want to know how you became vegetarian or vegan, and if you think this video might help a friend or a family member or somebody else you know, go ahead and share it. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next vlog. I'm gonna go out back and see if I can find anything left in my tree fort. It's true. I've been vegan now for 20 years, no meat for almost 25. I feel great, I feel youthful, I feel athletic, I feel strong. And I'm not falling apart, I'm not malnourished. And I still feel like it's the best decision I ever made. And it could be the best decision you ever make. For the animals, for the environment, and for your health. It's a no-brainer. Mom, I'm making a video. Can I just leave that in there? Until then, I'll see you guys in the next. I just move my hands awkwardly. It's a no-brainer.